Hello, Math 133 students. This is Alana Taki. I'm going to continue with the syllabus videos, and in this video, I'm going to go over the very important grading information. What are the course requirements? How do you get graded, and how do you pass the class? So a grade of a 2.0 is a passing grade. In this class, that's a 70% or higher. So keep in mind that you need to have a passing grade in order for it to count towards graduation, for your associate's degree. To transfer this course, it must be a passing course. Many financial aid sources require that you pass the classes that you're taking, and earning less than a 2 point means you might be unable to participate in the next level of courses or in other school functions. All right, now how does your grade of 70% or higher, because of course we love 4 points, work? Well, it's a combination of multiple factors. So you have your online MyMathLab homework, which we'll talk about, all of this in another page, but your online MyMathLab homework is 10%. Your in-class work, quizzes, etc. is 15%. Your exams are each worth 15%. Those are chapter exams, chapters 1 through 4, chapters 5 through 7, chapters 8 through 10. You have 2 projects, they're 5% each, and they make a total of 10%. And then the final exam is 20%, and that is over the entire course. Now keep in mind that these 2 pieces right here, the online MyMathLab homework and the in-class work, the worksheets and the quizzes, participation, all that, they combine to 25%. That's more than the final exam. That's me giving a lot of credit to students that are sticking with the course, doing all of their work, grinding out week after week, getting the job done. That's worth a lot in this course. You cannot pass this course without doing that work, that day-to-day, week-to-week work that the math class requires, that skill work, that practice in the concepts, right? Similarly, you cannot pass with just doing those 2. You also need to be successful on exams where you're kind of proving that you have synthesized the information and can pull it all together into a larger group, into a larger grouping of chapters, I should say. And the projects are essentially take-home exams, right? So that's the way they should be viewed, but they're with more complicated problems, more complicated data sets. All right, so let's talk about each of these pieces a little bit more in detail. The online MyMathLab homework. First of all, it's on MyMathLab. You do it outside of class on a computer with internet access. You can actually do it on iPads, Chromebooks, things like that. There's a homework assignment for every section that we cover in the course. Homework is usually due every week. I wrote in the syllabus Mondays, but I might be changing that to more Wednesdays. It just depends on how it goes. I've sometimes changed that in the middle of the semester to one day or another day, depending on what suits the student schedules, but it'll be due once a week for sure. You can also check MyMathLab for particular due dates. So, you have an unlimited number of tries to do the homework up until the due date. You don't have forever for the whole course, but you can keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it becomes due, and then you cannot anymore. So you can, hypothetically speaking, get 100% on your homework, or at the very least in the high 90s, right? And if there's a couple questions that just frustrate you in the course, that happens. But you could get a really high score in the homework as long as you stick with it. There are videos available on my YouTube channel, so if I click there, to help you navigate homework assignments and all of that. I'm going to go over a little bit of it now, but if you click on this little search icon right here and you click MyMathLab, or type MyMathLab, I should say, you can find all sorts of videos. You're interested in ones that are not for instructors. I mean, the instructor ones might be interesting to you, but they don't really matter much to you as a student. But you want to use these MyMathLab for students, probably not the old design, but you can roam around getting started. That's how to get in and get registered, as I mentioned earlier. All this other good stuff, in-depth, face-to-face, F is face-to-face students, etc. Okay, so there's that. Let me go click on a homework assignment so you can see one. Oops. So I'm in the course and I clicked on homework. Then I clicked on a section. I just picked 3.2. I'm just going to click on a problem. And I want you to see how this looks. I'm going to maximize this. I'm going to type in an answer. 1. I know it's wrong, so that's good. Oh, I'm going to put in a different answer. How about 2? And I actually did it. That was my second and third time. I'd already done it once off screen where you didn't see me. So it tells me the answer at the end. And I say, okay, that's well and good. I'm not thrilled about that. So I can click Save right here, this shows one of the frustrations with my math lab. So I could save this assignment. It'll have it so that I have the wrong answer. But there are actually more parts to this question. I'm having a little bit of an issue technically with my, yeah, there it goes, technically with my problems right this second. So just bear with me. I can't get my computer to kind of do what I need it to do sometimes, but you basically have to do the whole problem. So you could put in, 0, and again, sorry, my computer's being really possessed, but you have to work through parts A through C. And by the time you get to the bottom, it'll give you, once you've reached the end of the question, if you got anything wrong, you'll say similar exercise, and you can click on that and do a new exercise. And again, I'm sorry I can't show this specifically because my computer's being very weird. There we go. If at first you don't succeed in one browser, just switch to another, which is what I'm going to do here. And you get 3 tries on any numeric answer. That's not true for multiple choice because, of course, with multiple choice, you'd get through process of elimination, you'd find the right answer after a while. So I say, yep, I've read all of that, continue, and you pick a problem. I don't want to choose the right answer here. Compare the, well, I'm just going to make it up. Final check. See, I only got 1 choice on that multiple choice question, and that's it. Okay, so now I can say, yep, continue. I'm going to pick an answer. Hopefully it's not right. Yep, there we go. And then once you get to the very end of it, if you've done anything wrong, if you want to do to get full credit for this part, and you can see there's a little red X there, you click similar exercise and then you start again. It's a bit of a frustration for multi-step questions because that means that you could get 1 bit wrong and the rest right, and you still lose credit for the 1 bit. There's no good way around that at this point other than just put in a lot of junk answers and go back, or take the time to actually figure out everything else, because if you figure it out how to do it really well, then the next time you go through it, it'll be really quick. What happens is a lot of students get frustrated, they can't get A right, then they finally get A right and then never really practice with B, and so they start getting that wrong. So it's best to, even if you get the first one wrong, figure out how to do it first of all, and second of all, then go through and figure out how you could have done B and C correctly as you do it. Okay, so there's that. That's my math lab, and then you can get full credit by clicking similar exercise at the end. Of course, a lot of the questions are not multi-step, so if I just clicked on another question here, yeah, that's just a multiple choice question. This is just a fill in the blank, so there's no multiple choice on that one. But pretty much every section's got at least 1 multi-step in there somewhere, so be prepared for that and just bear with it. It gives you immediate feedback, so that's the good side. There's a lot of good parts to my math lab, and we'll deal with more of them later, but I use my math lab for announcements. So on the course home, I'm going to have announcements down in this screen when it shows up in a second, where I tell you what we covered this week in class, tell you what assignments are due. I'll have worksheets and stuff over here in these links, and you'll be able to see them there. There's the course home, and you can click view all announcements, and you'll be able to see all the announcements I've made. Right now I just have a welcome message there, but there'll be more there. You'll be able to see what homework is due when. You'll be able to see what your upcoming assignments are, what your grade is roughly for my math lab, not for the course overall. I'll put your grade book in here. I'll put all sorts of information in here. So my math lab gets used for more than just homework. It's also the way I communicate with you as a class. So make sure when you're signing into my math lab or registering for my math lab, you put in an email that you actually check, and make sure to check that email regularly, because I will be posting information and announcements to you there. All right, in-class work is there will be frequent in-class assignments. They will be turned in for credit. They get graded. It's not just a, oh, I did this assignment. No, no, no. You have to actually do it correctly. I can do it a lot of different ways. Individual assignments, group assignments, closed book, open notes. I sometimes will make it so that you have a worksheet to do. When you come in, I give you a pop quiz on something from that assignment. So as long as you have the assignment done, you're ready to go for the quiz. There are different ways I can do that. I can also post additional quizzes in my math lab for you to take outside of class. I do, for example, have videos for you to watch outside of class. So if you click on homework, There are videos for the chapter 1 sections right here, and so you can watch those and then do the homework for those. So watch the 1-3 lecture video here and then get to do the 1-3 homework here. That little flag right there means that there's a prerequisite on this assignment. You cannot do 1-3 unless you've watched the 1-3 lecture videos, because those are not covered in class. That's true for all of chapter 2. All of chapter 2 is not covered in class. You watch the videos and do it on your own. I will set the due date for when those are due in class, and I'll post them. When the due dates are put up, you'll be able to see these dates will start changing. I start off with everything being due, next year or whatever, and then as the semester goes through, I'll start making it due week by week by week, because you will have an assignment due in my math lab every single week. All right, so besides quizzes and other things, if you're absent, you are still responsible for completing and submitting the worksheets that you missed. So what will happen is I will post class worksheets up here in my math lab. There will be another link in here. Matter of fact, I'll just put it in right this second. And there it is. So you can see the class worksheets is right here. And there they are. And so you can click on these. I think you might have to right click and open them. Yes, you do. All right, so let me go back real quick. Class worksheets. So you have to right click and open a new tab or a new window, and there they are. So you could print this off if you're not in class. Matter of fact, you have to print it off if you're not in class. You are still responsible for completing and submitting any worksheets that you miss, and that's why you have to pay attention to the update emails that I send out. So I'll send out update emails that tell you we covered this, this, and this in this class. Those worksheets are due next time, that kind of thing. And so you'll have to go to your class worksheets, download and print off the appropriate worksheets missed, complete them, and submit them by the start of the next class with no exceptions whatsoever. You have to get them in by the next class. So if you have to miss 2 days in a row, not that you should ever do that, because that's not a good move in a math class, but if that's the case, then you need to scan them and email them to me or put them under my office door. Keep in mind there are several free apps that will allow you to scan from your phone. So you can take a picture with your phone, as long as it's a pretty good phone, pretty good picture, and it'll be able to make a PDF of it and email it really nicely to your instructor. So I should add a caveat right there that it should be a PDF. So with a scan. Right? Or put them under my office door if you're not around, or submit them, through carrier pigeon, whatever you have to do to get them into me. They will not be taken any later than that. So you have to get it in by the next class, even if you're not in the next class because you're out. You have to get it emailed to me. All right, and other late work, projects, quizzes, etc., those are not allowed in late at all. So you have to get them done in time. Speaking of the projects, there are two very large, not very large, but moderately large projects for the course. They require you to use the Excel, the internet, YouTube, because I have YouTube videos up to help you. You can use school computers, that's fine. They're done outside of class. It says entirely, but the second project we sometimes have a work day on in class if we have time, so it just depends. But you'll have to collect data from a website or collect data from yourself. You're going to buy some bags of candy and run some calculations on them. So those are the two projects. More about those will be coming out. I will give you the first project after chapter 4, and I'll give you the second project kind of in the middle of chapter 9 and 10. All right, exams. We have exams because this is a math course. So of course, we do have questions that relate to previous exams. That's just the nature of the beast. The final exam is cumulative. Exams may not be made up for any reason except under extreme circumstances, and you have to document those. You can't just say you were sick. You have to document it. Whether or not makeup is going to be allowed will rest with me. Contact me immediately if there's a problem. That's why you have my texting number and my email. You can get a hold of me. So feel free to text me right here and let me know who you are and what's going on, or you can send me an email. This class, unlike many other classes, you're going to have a page of notes front and back that are of your own creation on the exams. And I will also sometimes give you extra notes on top of that. On the final exam, you basically use 4 sheets of notes. Usually students use their note sheets from previous exams. Another interesting thing to note is that our exams will be not in class, but in the testing lab, which is in Atkinson 119. So Atkinson 119 has a testing lab. Let me click on it. There's a link for it here. And you can see there's information. So you must bring an ID, a federal issued or state issued ID. Your student ID does not work for this purpose for a variety of reasons. You can talk to them about it. And there are the hours. It's closed for Labor Day, but there are the hours, and they can be modified slightly each semester. And the location is in Atkinson Hall. It's on Central Campus. And there's more information about academic honesty, how the tests are distributed. You should show up well before they close. For example, if you want to take 3 hours on a test, that's fine. You can take 3 hours. But what you do not want to do is show up at 3 o'clock when the place closes at 4 expecting to take 3 hours, because that will not be the case. They will stop you when the lab closes. So you want to make sure you arrive with plenty of time to take your test. If the lab is completely full, you might have to wait for a testing time to be open. It's a classroom, so if it gets completely full, you're going to have to take your time and wait for the space to open up for you. If you need special accommodations, you should let me know, let the testing lab know. You want to bring your photo ID, you want to bring pencils, your calculator. You do not want to bring your cell phones because they will make you take it or leave it with them, or make you leave it in a cubby. Food, children, anybody that can bother you, because you're going to be abandoning those things in another room, because in the testing room you're only allowed to take in basically your pencils, your calculators, and yourself, and your note sheets for this particular class. So read this over very carefully. You'll be given at least a week to take every test. So I'll put it in the testing lab and you'll have around a week to take it. I always make sure there's at least one weekend in there so that you can go in on the Saturday that they're open, because if in case you missed it, they're open Saturdays. So I like to make sure that there is at least one Saturday free for students to go in and take a test if they need to. That will free us up a little bit in class so that we don't have to have just lecture the entire 15 weeks. We'll have lecture, lots of it, but we'll also be able to do some project work or group work or things like that. All right, and the last thing about grades is that there is no extra credit. We could sometimes drop, a lowest homework score, or we can do things like that, but there is no straight up extra credit for this class. Your grade is based on what you do, not on extras. So keep that in mind. If you're, doing in the course and you're getting a 1 point, there is not going to be some extra credit bomb at the end of the semester that's going to boost you up to a 2 point. That's not going to happen. So if you find yourself floundering, you need to get in touch with me right away so we can try to find ways to correct your course in the Math 133 course, as it were. All right, so that's how your grades are calculated. Remember that you're allowed to use note sheets on exams, and sometimes students want to get started on those as the notes and lectures are going. They'll star things that they know they want to put on their note sheet. That will help. All right, I'll see you back here for the rest of the syllabus.